is Rabbi Shlomo, first year at the Yeshiva Tsama Nafshi, located in Yerushalyim here at HaKodesh. We are located in Yaakov number 6 in the Beit Knesset of Kamma Yeshivas. This is our Gemora shir. I'm temporarily substituting for Rabbi Ruven Levitt, who's taking care of important things for Yeshiva. And we are on Daf Mem Bava Medeis in Bava Kamma. Since I wasn't here for the last half of yesterday's shir, maybe when someone on the shir wants to suggest where we should start. And excuse me? From the bottom. That's towards the end of the short lines. That's where the two dots are. We all have the spot there. The two dots are.
Last two short lines.
Let's see now the para takes revenge and turns the tails on the shore, and the para strikes back at the shore. Right. The Mishnah again. Let's just review the Mishnah. If you want to just turn back to the Mishnah, it says the Mishnah begins with shor shenotek kasapara, the shore that gores a cow. Right, an ox that gores a cow. And then v'chein, there should be a similar case in the Mishnah. V'chein in the Mishnah says v'chein para shenotek kasashor. Now the para went ahead and attacked the shore. The cow, the pregnant cow, attacked the ox. And now the vlad is on the side of the para.
And Rashi says it was dead,
We don't know where the birth took place, before the goring or after the goring. Now, so what? Before we get further on in the Gemora, let's just try and understand what the change in the what we call the ratio, the first part of the Mishnah, is from the second part, the Sefer of the Mishnah. The first case was a shore, the ox gored the pregnant cow, right? And the vlad was found on the side, also dead. And in the Sefer, the second part of the Mishnah, the cow that was pregnant gored the shore.
Right? Sure died?
Let's say it did, yeah. Let's say it did.
And the shore doesn't have a vlad, so that's...
No, but the vlad, the shore doesn't have a vlad, yeah.
Okay. After the cow gored the ox, this cow?
That's the question. At the time of the goring, was the cow carrying the vlad? Was it pregnant or not? What's the consequential? What's the nafkamina whether it is or not?
Why would it be a nafkamina?
Because we know that the shore is worth a certain amount of money. And how is the tashlum? How is the payment can be made? From the guf hapara. The guf hapara, from the value.
The value of the ox.
Well, no, the perpetrator has to pay. The value is going to come out of the perpetrator's.
It always comes out of the value of the attacking animal.
And the attacking the perpetrator, right?
The attacking animal.
Right. So now we have to determine, was the attacking animal, in this case the cow, pregnant at the time of the goring or not?
So it will be worth more if he was pregnant?
Well, that'll be a question. That'll be a well, whether it is or not, there's going to be a difference in value. Whether it's a higher value or lower value, but there's a difference in value between a pregnant cow and a non-pregnant cow, right? Whether it's going to go up or down, that'll be something else.
And there's a difference between a pregnant cow and a non-pregnant cow. And there's also the difference between the pregnant cow and the cow with the rod that was alive.
Yeah.
That's also, the cow with the rod alive next to it is worth more than the pregnant cow who hadn't been birthed yet. Because you weren't sure it could be birthed necessarily.
And will it survive?
There was going to be survivor now.
True. Mm-hmm. So that's basically what the Gemora is going to be dealing with now. We have to try and determine let's put it this way: the suffix, the doubt in our Gemora now is how much was the cow, the attacking cow, worth? That's our question. How much was it worth? And that's going to affect how much we're going to be able to charge to pay for the damage to now dead shore. Okay.
Does a cow have a status of lord like an ox?
Yeah, that doesn't matter if you're male or female. If it's caught 3 times and testified 3 times, as a status of lord.
Does cows really?
I would hope it's a female one in this case if we have a blood on the side.
Yeah.
But if the cows are married, usually
No, they don't.
The
males are probably more aggressive than the females, but you wouldn't want to get close to either one of them. They both have horns, if I'm not
It's also
mistaken.
the cow, because if the cow has the baby involved, the rod involved, then the cow could be more protected than that's the reason for boring so much.
More sensitive.
Yeah.
Could be a rough morning for the cow. Yeah.
Oh, they're saying there's a mothering instinct even in a cow.
Yeah,
I think that's true. You know, when it comes to bears, people who meet bears out in the wild, occasionally they get gored from a bear, because if you see a bear with a calf, like a baby bear,
Come.
you have to stay away, because if you get in between the mother and the cub, the mother's going to take all kind of protective action to protect its. And for those who ever go hiking, you walk away very slowly, not to disturb the mother and her cub.
There's a mixed theory on, they sell when you go to these areas, you know, like Alaska, the Rockies, where they sell these bracelets with the bells on them. So theoretically, one of the theories is that people say that, you'll hear the noise and the bear will come near you because the bear leaves nuts. The other theory is, it's dinner bells.
It's dinner bells.
Dinner bells, yeah.
Depends if you ate anyone but the day before or not.
The bear is hungry.
But they're usually not carnivorous. Bears are not carnivorous.
No, but they're protected.
No, they're vicious.
They're vicious. They're protected.
Yeah, they're vicious. But
And also because they may happen to hit upon people when they leave all kinds of their food around their campsites and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
Because people are out there that go into the tents and grab forage.
yeah, that's
They
even
forage for the food. The food is there. They don't.
It's not called Bear Mountain for nothing,
So we would, Canadian Rockies, they said, put your food in a bag and hang it from a tree. If you put it in the trunk of your car, which a lot of people do, the bears are so smart, so aggressive, they'll rip it open the trunk to get to the food. So, and in those parts of the world, you have to get it.
Okay, let's proceed with the Gemora now, okay? The game portion of the Esashur. Okay, yeah. Who's going to be reading?
Start this with pain. We have the that's the repeating thing. I had a bar that gores the shore.
Good.
Chatzi Nevet, it's a quarter Nevet,
Not
and the half and the quarter Nezek, Halka, we divide.
Halga Nizkit.
We divide the Nezek. The that we need, Shlomi Kulam, we have to pay all of the damage, the all payment of the Nezek, and now it says Nechi Reva. And that's my Avidita. Okay, so now we get to a problem where we all of a sudden have that you're being told that you have to pay half Nezek. That was the original Torah. And because of the Vlad, you're going to be paying another quarter of Nezek. So it comes out to, I think the Nechi Reva makes it 3/4. And it's a question. My Evitya, how does it work? How do we end up having to pay 3/4 Nezek? It's just not it.
What have you done here? I mean, how did it work out to be this kind of...
No, it should work. Theoretically, there's a maximum limitation on a tam of Chatzi Nezek.
Right.
If it's a muad, it's full Nezek no matter what. If it's a tam, it should be Chatzi Nezek. So how can you possibly end up with 3/4 coming out of the tam?
Because there's a calf.
So the answer is going to say, well, I have to pay. There's a calf involved. What if it's a dead calf?
We don't know.
We
They may have been there.
We don't know. This calf may have not been alive, and the calf is dead. So can you pay out of the calf? That's even a question.
That's right.
That was the whole question of the suffix. We're getting a quarter out of the calf. We were sure that the calf existed and didn't exist. That was only one opinion. There was then the other opinion that said, I don't see the Chaver, Ryan, which would be nothing. Shmuel would say nothing. It's still Rav we're talking about here. to even get that quarter situation. So how can you possibly get 3/4?
Take a look at Rashi. Rashi is going to explain the point that the most strike is making here. There's about 10 lines in the short lines. It's about 10 lines into the short lines.
Chetzi Nezik,
Mine Nezik, Chetzi Nezik, Reviya Nezik. We don't have to
half Nezik and a quarter Nezik. How I call a Nezik, it's all the full damage is Chaser Reviya minus a quarter, that's 3/4.
That should be, you're coming up with a figure of 3/4.
3/4.
Right, payment.
Okay, but how does it work?
How does this work?
Tamu, the Tam. Upalga Nezik, who is half, Tam is half Chatzi Nezik, half the Nezik. That he has to pay. But too low, and further one, and further than that, nothing more. It should pay more. Half is the maximum liability.
Right. So you've come out with a tally of 3/4. You've come out with a tally of 3/4 tashlumi of payments, and this is a tam, and we know that it has to pay up to a maximum of half damage. How did you get 3/4 of it? You assume furthermore.
No, this was too low, and furthermore not.
Oh, excuse me, right. You mean we're correct?
Sorry.
Right.
The high, apologize for it. The high call in this case, Nechei Reveh, and here, all the damages are Nechei Reveh, to half and a quarter, 3/4. The Mechayev, that he's Chayev on, L'shlomi to pay, my Evida, ma Avida, yeah. How does it work? How does it work? It should work. It should be possible to even come up with this scenario.
Right.
How can you even have this scenario?
Exactly. Okay. So we understand the question of the Gemora. The Mishnah said in the case with the Torah that was embarrassed, was pregnant, and then the gored, that's clear, that's no suffering. Everyone agrees that the cow gored the shore and killed the shore, but we don't know as whether or not the blood was part of the goof of the body of the shore of the Torah at the time of the goring. So the Mishnah came up with a tally of half of the nezik of the cow and a quarter of the nezik of value of the blood, and that gives us 3/4. And so the question is, my take, how can you do that? Rashi explained, as we said on our own, that the maximum that we're supposed to pay for a time is a half. How did you get 3/4? Okay. What's the Gemora answer? Amar, that's the end of the first wide line. The wide line, the end of the first wide line. Amar
Abaye says, Chatzi Nezek, half Nezek, is Echad Me'arba'a to Nezek. That's 1 in 4 in Nezek. So half really means a quarter. The Revi Nezek and the quarter of Nezek is Echad Mishmona to Nezek, is really 1/8. So now he's actually even limiting it further. He's saying that if he pays half Nezek, he's even taking the half Nezek to be a doubt, so I guess doubt or a partner somehow to make that even down to a quarter. And he's even saying the quarter of Nezek is really not even a quarter, it's half of that, which is 1/8.
So how is this an answer now? How do we understand what Abai is saying over here? Amar Abai, Chetzi Nezik, the Chetzi Nezik, Echid Marabah, the Nezik, Via Nezik, Echid Mashmona Ben Nezik.
Okay, let's see Rashi.
Yeah, let's refer to Rashi.
Let's see if Rashi tries to explain how he limits this to half, which still doesn't work because you have to do 3/8. But 3/8 is less than half, so at least it's still a maximum, it's still within the legal range, but it's not a full amount to use. Okay, Amar Abaye says Chetzi Nezik. He says the Ketani, the Torah Hayin Chetzi Metashlumi. This is half of his payment. Sheyeshno that he has. Ala par on the cow. In aim vlad, if there's no vlad with it, the high that this would be ihi mishal menet that he has to pay.
Ehi, the high ehi mishal menet, Chetzi Nezik. how is it?
How can he get half Chetzi Nezek?
Pashta.
Here, Shalem Revi, he plays only the quarter. Mishum, because the Islay shoot for. Okay, so he's saying there is a part. So that's his way of getting it down from half to a quarter. Because now once you have a partner, he's only paying a quarter, the partner has to pay the other quarter.
So that
You have for age that will explain the Azel, the Vlad, and there is a Vlad in it, the Inshe, the Inish, Acheri. And then this Vlad belongs to somebody else.
Right.
It belongs to another person.
Right. The Gemora is going to set up the case as being that someone in fact had bought the Vlad.
Okay,
the
so that is he saying something? Is he saying when we're talking about the shoot
Yeah.
we have possibilities of shutful. It could be a shutful only on the para and not on the vlad. It could be a shutful meaning that I have a cow and you got the vlad, or I got the vlad and you got the cow. It could be different ways.
Correct.
Of meaning shutful.
Correct. So the Gemara is going to obviously go into this. According to Abai, you're going to have to set it up in a specific case like this.
In order to get to a quarter and an eighth,
Right.
he's going to have shutful on both.
Yes.
Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to divide it.
Right.
That's the guy's way of getting his way is explaining. I don't know. I love that. These guys are doing the Gemora. They're just attempting it to make it work.
True. I mean, obviously, you're put into such a situation where the basic understanding of the Mishnah is impossible to understand with the criteria of Chetzi Nezek. But it simply doesn't work. So you must say that there must be some unusual case here, which you have to try and set it up to be that the mathematics works properly. Okay. So we are understanding so far what Abai is trying to teach us.
I guess this next phrase looks like why it's saying what Abai is saying. Because it says E power of Vlad, because if it would be the power and the Vlad would belong to the same person. Ninu Chatzinezek. Dinu would be. Achinam here, the much say that you find it.
Okay, again. Amar Abaye, Chetzi Nezek, Echad Ma'arba, the Nezek, Revia Nezek, Echad Yishman. You have Chetzi Nezek, which is one from of a quarter of the Nezek, and a Revia Nezek, that's going to be 1/8 of the Nezek.
There was a second Rashi.
Yeah.
Go back to the second Rashi.
Sure.
The Revia Nezek. The quarter Nezek. The Katani, he taught on the Vlad, he taught on the Vlad. Revia, quarter, is Chetzi, Revia, quarter of the Chetzi Nezek. Shehoyu Chadari Bichayiv. Imhu Levan, if he was alone. Nagach, and the same quarter. The Hainu, Echad, Yishmona B'Nezek, perhaps 1/8, is the Feresh that explains the reason, the E power of Vlad, if the cow and the Vlad would have.
Yes. The 1/4 damages, the body of the spring, it actually means 1/8 of the piece.
Right.
In total, then, if that's only 3/8 of the amount of his loss.
Total 3/8.
Instead of 1/2. I'm not a mathematician who get lost out. I just believe what he says here.
A half plus a quarter is 3/8, trust me. No, a quarter plus an eighth is 3/8. Good. That much you could do.
So
That much you could do. Even with your art, you could do a quarter plus an eighth.
no, so what's happening, and what Abai is doing is that we're within the limitations of Chetzi Nezek. Okay, Bava is trying to set it up, and which Rashi is telling us a little bit more information than the Gemora is saying, and we're trying, Bava is attempt to reconcile the words of the Mishnah with the law of Chetzi Nezek. Because the words of the Mishnah seem to violate the law of Chetzi Nezek. Chetzi Nezek means we pay half. Maximum pay half if it's a tam. And we see that it's paying actually apparently 3/4. How can that be? So Bava is explaining it's really turning out to be 3/8. It's a different way of saying 3/8 because we didn't talk about there's two partners here. That we're in the dark about. We haven't really seen that. But Bava is taking that for granted, and therefore, in order to save the simple meaning of the words of the Mishnah, you have to say we must be talking about a case where there's two partners.
As of now.
So far, so.
Yeah.
Does that fit?
All right, but and we're saying that the blood and the mother are two separate entities.
Well, that's the doubt. That's the suffix. We don't know. If in fact the cow was pregnant at the time of the Gorim, so it's one separate entity. But there's a way of understanding that it's one separate entity, one unified entity. However, even in that case, you could perhaps say that it's two separate entities. We're not going to go into that right now. But since we don't know if it was still pregnant at the time of the Gorim or not, we have to judge it. Perhaps yes, and perhaps not.
Well, you could, as I say, you could consider it as I say two different. And again, those are two different situations.
Mm-hmm.
You could say that there is such a thing as even the pregnant cow, in a sense where one has in a shoot theme. You could say that one has the value of a cow that would have not been pregnant, and the other guy has the shedach, the additional value of the vlad of a pregnant cow over a regular cow. And the other party could own that, as opposed to them needing shoot it the whole thing. Shoot it in the pregnant cow, or, that it could be a separate thing. I have the pregnant value, and I have the shedach value of the vlad, that value. Or it could have actually been born, if it was born, then it's a totally different situation, because then I only have the value of the cow, and you only have the value of the vlad while it was alive before it got killed.
Right.
Because it could have got brought, and it would have now had a value, and then got killed and lost its value.
Mm-hmm.
So there's all kinds of values that could happen.
True.
So going right back to the very beginning of the idea of taking out the value of the cow that did the damage, or the animal that did the damage.
Right.
I don't know why I didn't look at it might be in house. And the rest of show complete ignorance. Why are we looking at that, and why aren't we looking at the cow that was killed and say, look, this cow that you killed, your animal killed, is worth 100 shekels. I want 100 shekels. Full stop.
Because there's a limitation. The Torah limits the liability of a goring animal if it's a tam. Right? It's limited to half its value.
If you had a cow, we've had this before with oxen. If we got the cows, it works the same way. If you have an animal that's worth 100 shekels that kills an animal, or 100 zoos, let's make it the Gemora terms. It's worth 100. Cow's worth 100 zoos. That kills an animal that's worth 200 zoos. Okay?
So you're only going to get 50 zoos at a time.
No, actually, I think he's going to get 100. He's going to get the 100 because half of the value of 100, half of the 200 value means he would have owed Chetzi Nezek, he would have owed 100, but the maximum payment he could have gotten was that full 100 out of that cow. He would have gotten that complete cow.
I'm coming home.
If the cow, let's do this again. If a cow, it's a maximum liability. If a cow is worth 50.
The cow is the one that was killed.
It's a cow that gores.
The cow that
If the
gores.
goring cow is worth 50,
Okay.
and he kills a cow that's worth, or ox, whatever, 200, the one that he killed was worth 200. Chetzi nezek, half of the damage of what he caused, is 100. He would owe 100. But his cow is only worth 50. That's the maximum liability you would have to pay on a tom. The tom would not have to pay more than the value of the cow. The rest is to by cow, he's done with it. It's a maximum cap from the gufo of the original animal. It's chetzi nezek, half of the damage payment, but a maximum cap of the goring animal. Couldn't pay more than that.
No, so that's see, the Gemora is now dealing with this
So there are two
specific
maximum caps.
questions.
Half the damages and the value of the animal. Those are two maximum caps on a tom. A muad is totally different. You know, the full value, no matter how any sort of problems he has got to pay.
No, so I mean that's the basic understanding of the question. My avidite, how did this work out? I mean, you've given me in the Mishnah a total payment of 3/4 of the damage, right? But that violates the maximum of chetzi nezek, of half damage.
And that's 3/4 is half of the cow and a quarter of the blood.
That's the
And
reporting.
that's been established by Torah.
Tam pays chetzi nezek is Torah law.
And the blood.
Vlad, well again, the Vlad is not responsible. The Vlad didn't do the goring. The Vlad has no horns, right? The only question is as to whether or not the Vlad was part of the mass of flesh, of basar, of the goring ox. And also part of the value of the goring ox, the goring par in this case, right? Was it part of the mass of body, of flesh, and was it also part of the value of the goring, the attacking animal?
So if a cow without the blood is worth 50,
Right.
and now it's pregnant, so the blood has got some value.
Yes.
So say the blood is worth 10.
Okay.
So the total value is 60. So if the blood was inside the cow, wasn't born yet, when the cow did the goring, then the tum cow, then the tum cow would be up for 30 shekels.
Correct.
But if the blood had been born at the time of the goring, then what? Because he wouldn't have done anything, would he?
Right.
He wouldn't have done it. So why is he up for anything at all?
Only because we're in doubt, we don't know. Would we know clearly that the birth was before the goring, then we would be completely out of the picture.
I see. So that's why we could have 1/4. It's because of doubt.
Correct.
So actually the owner could be out 1/4 of the value of the blood, if in fact the blood was born before, afterwards.
If it was
But he has to just carry that anyway. That'd be a loss that he has to carry.
he doesn't know. Again, that will say once in the Kibbutz of Barayo, that's what be the question.
Alright. Okay. I'm not going to ask about that one.
Okay.
I'll just take it.
It's not really the value.
There's no way around it.
It's not necessarily, we're not really talking about the value, you said 50 and 10, of the goring animal. The chetzi nezek and the reva nezek are of the animals that are killed.
But anyway,
Their value is the ones that are
there's an
paying for.
explanation down here that I figure out one day.
Well, how about you read the Gemora for us and explain it to someone? Okay, let's see.
Okay, well, let's just sort that out.
Okay, so let's review and read the Gemora over, and then you can hopefully explain to your best ability what the Gemora is driving at you.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, please. Yes. Chetzi Nezik, Reviya Nezik, right?
Chetzi Nezik, Abaya said, Chetzi Nezik. The Mishnah states the damaged party collects half damages from the body of the cow. Echad, Ma'aba'a, the Nezik. It actually means 1/4 of the damages. Uruvia Nezik, when it states that he collects 1/4 of the damages from the body of the offspring. Echad Mishmana, the Nezik, it actually means 1/8 of the damages. He's halving the half.
Yes.
In total then he collects only 3/8 of the amount of his loss instead of 1/2. This is because of doubts, isn't it?
We don't know exactly, since it's we call it this a moment mutable suffix. The status of the vlad is undetermined, so we have to take in consideration both possibilities. It was born before or born afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
But actually, making that statement, by the way, is not even talking about, when you said doubt, you talk, the doubt, I think you only refer to the Vlad portion, not only the Vlad.
Yeah.
Right, fine, continue.
I mean, although it does reflect on the para as well, because it could be that we don't know if it was carrying the Gemora or not at the time of recording.
Right.
Does have an effect on it.
But that still always talks about, that's a different situation, because that's always we're talking about the chiyuv or the amount he pays, which is a different story.
Two different stories, exactly.
Because they're different things.
Correct.
The chiyuv is, what you damage is how much you're being told you have to pay.
Right.
And what you actually pay differs because of values of the object with the limited liability of what you damage versus the value of the goring animal on top and slot, the goring cow on top. That's not the same thing.
Sure.
Alright, we'll continue on.
Yeah.
Now if the second cow, if the cow and his offspring were the property of one owner, which is more than likely.
Why should be more than likely?
Because the cow, if I owned a cow and it gave birth, it's not so likely that I would have sold the offspring in advance. I suppose I could have. Anyway, but more likely that it's all one. Anyway, okay, Nami. The Motsei Amale Laval Para. The damaged party would indeed be able to tell the cow's owner, Mima Nafshi Chetzi Nezik half live. Whatever you choose, give me half the damages. But the article amplifies it as whatever you choose, that is, whatever you assume the cow gave, whether you assume the cow gave birth before or they gored my ox or afterwards, regardless, in other words. Give me half the damages.
That's right. Straight Hetzi Nezik, right?
Since in any event liability fully rests on you. Eila Saricha, rather the Mishnah's ruling is needed only for the case, the para, the dachad, where the cow is the property of one owner and the offspring is the property of another owner. So the liability is divided between them. So excuse me, I'm sorry. So that sort of clicks in with another question I had before, which I didn't ask, but I might be off the track. I think it may not be. Say the cow, two animals, well, say two cows, gang up and kill an ox.
Okay.
And they're different owners in one case, and they're the same owner in another case. So now where does that stand with cows? They're both, and all the cows come in. All the cows that come in. So there's if it's two cows and two different owners, as here one cow, the cow is one owner, the blood is another owner, would each owner have to pay Hetzi Nezik?
No, in fact, each one was probably, I would think neither of them would have to pay, because each one can push you off the other one and say, your cow didn't. And that's the Chutz in the Gemora, the Raya. Because if only one animal's getting killed, and you can say, your guy did it, not mine. Why should I have to pay? So why should you have to pay?
It's recognised that both cows were equally involved in killing the ox. There's no doubt about it.
That's another Gemora when you have a multiple attack.
Oh, that's not this.
Yeah, no.
Something like.
No, the multiple attack, each one has to pay their share.
Okay.
They won't divide. The maximum is what the pays. They wouldn't. It's still Hetzi Nezik is the amount they would have to pay. The Hetzi Nezik would be divided among people. They're not going to each person pay the Hetzi Nezik. No, it's going to be Hetzi Nezik is the amount they have to pay because Tom's did it. And then how much the Hetzi Nezik, the distribution of the Hetzi Nezik among the partners depends upon how many cows were involved or oxen were involved in the attacking. The attacking gets divided among the Hetzi Nezik. What this is trying to get is this is trying to give an answer now that lets you get away with the fact of it didn't make sense having 3/4 and 3/8. And that's why we're trying to give another way out of it. Because before it seemed like 3/4 the Hetzi and a quarter, which can't be maximized to be Hetzi. And the other way, if we say there's Shutfim, then if there's Shutfim, it would come down to 3/8, because it would come down to 1/4 and a half, 1/4 and 1/8. So this way, by making 1 and 1, you're not having you're getting around that problem about
it's still Hetzi Nezik.
It's still Hetzi Nezik for one and 1/4 Nezik for the other, and it's not an issue.
Right. Because of the necessity of Hetzi Nezik, you have to say that's Chad v'Chad.
Chad v'Chad. That's his way out of that.
Can I just read the whole thing again?
Yeah.
Now, if the cow and its offspring were the property of one owner, the damaged party would indeed be able to tell the cow's owner, whatever you choose, whether you assume the cow gave birth before it brought my ox or afterwards, give me half the damages, since in any event liability fully rests upon you. Rather, the Mishnah's ruling is needed only for a case where the cow is the property of one owner and the offspring is the property of another owner. So liability is divided between them.
Yeah. So we'll give you half and 1/4.
Okay, so from one owner he gets, from the owner of the cow he gets half of what the cow is worth, and from the owner of the blood he gets half what the blood is worth, or a quarter?
Only a quarter, because that's a suffix. That's the question as to whether or not it was before or after the. May not be obligated in anything.
So does that violate the Torah's limit?
No, because that's a maximum limit. Because the minimum limit will depend on the details of the case. The maximum limit, it's chetzi.
He's only getting chetzi out of one object out of the cow. The other quarter is the value of a vine, not of the cow. It's a separate item.
So different items.
Different item.
So while he's getting 1 1/4 the costs, that's two separate things anyway. So you can't say that 1 1/4 is one payment. Therefore, goes over what the Torah stipulates. Torah stipulates half, so it's half of that. Torah stipulates half, so he gets a quarter of right. Because of okay.
The Rashi on it says
Who's Rashi?
the Torah, the Chav, the Lab, the Chav.
You have that right there?
You see the other side? 9 lines up. The Rashi.
From the bottom of the Rashi,
The bottom of the Rashi, 9 lines up. The power is Chav, the power is from one person, and the blood is from one person. The goal, for example, Shemechar lo para, he sold him the cow, chutz me'uvra, except for the fetus. He said the fetus belonged to somebody else. So he sold part of the cow, not the vlad portion of the cow. Which is interesting because he's using the word uber and not vlad, which means, in a sense, he said that's like saying, I'm selling you. Can you say that the uber is worth something at this point? You only can that's the one, or is it that the value, the difference in the value of the cow, the pregnant and the non-pregnant cow?
That's the whole question. Although Rashi seems to be. Look at the phraseology of Rashi here.
Except for the
Not that he didn't say sell the ubra.
right.
He saw I'm selling you the cow.
A non-pregnant
not
cow.
This is a cow. You're buying a cow, right? But the ubra you're not buying. Could have said, why couldn't Rashi explain you sell the money? He could sell, I'm keeping the cow, and I'm selling you the ubra. Because Rashi might be avoiding the whole question of the shore or Ola. Even though it's really, again, it probably was close to the gestation time of the cow and calf. They were pretty close. Okay. Thank you.